Welcome to Rauta's Challenging the Classics, the second episode of this quite new series. Today I decided to tackle one of those albums which mean a lot to a lot of people, I might add. I was listening to it while doing my workout because, Impaled Nazarene is actually doing a new album. Well, done already, but that will be released in May 2021. And that got me ticking. Since I'm not getting a review copy of that new album, why not talk about some Impaled Nazarene classic albums? And little spinning with my head I did, and I ended up with Suomi Finland Perkele, the band's third album that was released already more than 25 years ago. Let's tune in for that son of a bitch and talk about that. Now, people might be wondering why I decided to pick this one. Well, that is just related to the new Impaled Nazarene album and also my personal history with the album. I'm not actually sure whether it was 1994 already or was it already 1995 when I got to listen to this one. But I'm guessing it was very, very close to the release date because back then I was at the school in a different city, having my very first bachelor apartment and all that stuff, yada yada yada. And there was this music store I decided to go like almost on a daily basis. That's where I got my first CDs for my CD player, stereo system, very simple and all that stuff. And there was this metalhead guy selling CDs, not every day, but he was one of those guys there, which was part of the local metal scene, and I got to know him. He became my friend and all that stuff. So I spent a lot of hours at the music store right after my school days. I was already 18, 19, around that, 1994, 19. So it means like I wasn't, like this little kid anymore, but still, finding a lot of new bands on, weekly basis, I guess. And that's when I got to know black metal also. I guess it was 1994 when I heard the first ones, but really can't put my finger on it, like which albums first and which bands and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that Suomi Finland Perkele, I'm 99.9% sure, was my first Impaled Nazarene album. I didn't have black metal friends, so there was nobody to put Ugra Garma, Tolkarm, Norts to my CD player or anything like that. So Impaled Nazarene's third album was the one that I got to hear. And back then the band was actually very, very active, as you can pretty much figure out. I mean, take a look at the early years and you can pretty much figure out they were really doing that stuff. 1993, 3 albums, and before that in 1992, they already had demos, EP and all that stuff coming. And so these first few years were really, really active time for Impaled Nazarene. You would get an album every 2 years or so, and the band was doing gigs and stuff like that. So, for example, I've seen the band quite a few times, especially in the 90s. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is talking about Suomi Finland Perkele and why I decided to challenge this one. Like I said, it is kind of a special meaning to me in that sense, but I also sold my copy of the album years and years ago. Why, you might ask? Well, the thing is, I guess I didn't like that much. I mean, I've always liked it to some extent, but do I really like it that much? No, I don't, and this is the video about it. So once again, challenging the classics, not calling them utter shite or anything like that, but more like bringing my angle to the particular album in question and saying why I don't think it's that good, even if it's good. Now, before we get into details and all that stuff, people might be asking, so how good I think that the album actually is? Well, I would say this 77% here is pretty damn close what I'm thinking about it. For me, isn't really 8 out of 10. It's close to that, but not exactly that. And that's, I guess, why I got rid of it in the first place. I mean, I have had this habit of getting rid of albums which are not 8 out of 10 or better for years and years, decades, I guess, already. So, the album starts with a short intro. And of course, after that becomes some of the strongest material which the band has all put out in all through years. And in my opinion, also, very much with this album, Vitutuksen multihuipennus, which is kind of hard to translate because it's not really proper Finnish. But let's say it's like going fucked up, like you're really super angry beyond beyond boundaries, so to speak. So it's like this multifaceted, getting like fucking annoyed of everything. And, it kind of has a kind of a goofy ways of, doing lyrics, but that's part of the charm with the whole band, Impaled Nazarene. They have never been very correct about anything. They have been quite the contrary. Pissing people left and right. They have been calling a lot of people with different kind of stuff. They haven't been apologetic at all. And that is something that many fans can really enjoy and like, because they're kind of a badass band. They're really based, like the saying nowadays goes, about their music. And this is one of those albums where you can really listen to it and, hear it very, very loudly. I mean, it's just, pointing out the fact that it's like, hey, we're Impaled Nazarene, we don't care. Actually, we want to offend you. And if you're ready to be offended, all the better, all the merrier, all that stuff. One could even say Impaled Nazarene in so many ways is kind of a troll of black metal bands. But I mean, at the same time, where they are goofy and kind of laid-back guys, they have a lot of anger that is right there ready to explode on your face. Like I said, part of the charm with the band, but obviously because of that, not for everybody. Anyway, now this album, if we ignore the intro, starts with this very hateful track, then goes Blood is Thicker Than Water, which is very, very actually kind of a lazy song compared to Vidotuksen Multihuipennus and all that stuff. But, the first parts on this album, are the strongest ones. So after the intro, when you have Vidotuksen Multihuipennus, Blood is Thicker Than Water, Steel Vagina, and this kind of a cover, not purely cover, but kind of, Total War Winter War, I mean, you have all there. It's really, really strong material and all that stuff. Now, the funny thing is, some people don't even know it's a NON kind of a cover. Acheron from United States made more true kind of cover to that song. Pretty cool version that it did as well, and also the original one. I strongly recommend listening to these three different versions so you get the idea what's going on. For years I didn't know it was a kind of a cover song. That is especially the first parts of the song. But anyway, that's what it makes so nice. It's different, but at the same time it's kind of nodding to the original song. But then with track number 6 becomes the first one, which I'm not too happy about it. For me, compared to the previous tracks on this album, it's like quite lazy. It's almost, not saying boring, but almost going to that direction when compared to the early ones. Then the album kind of picks up again and then goes on decline. Let's be honest about it. None of these later tracks here from 6 to 11, none of them really are like wow to me. There are parts like Let's Fucking Die, which are better parts. But, I mean, even The Oath of the Goat and stuff like that, they don't really do the trick for me. Now, the good side on this album, it's very, very well produced. I mean, the guitar sound is really, really good. It's kind of a crisp, but without being sterile. It's kind of a powerful, but still kind of a raw end. And the bass guitar definitely has lots of room to operate. Something that you don't get to listen to so often in black metal. And in my opinion, this is something like a reference sound to that. And of course, then we have Mika Luttinen's vocals, which are very hateful. They're not maybe the most raw kind of black metal vocals there are out there, but I mean, he does his job. He has his signature sound. And of course, he's kind of a very Finnish way of saying these words on this album is very powerful. Not for everybody, definitely, guaranteed, but I kind of like it. But like I said, I have a problem with some of these songs, and none of that has to do with lyrics. I can really enjoy the lyrics, even though I necessarily won't agree with some of the words, maybe. But the thing here is, I kind of like that Impaled Nazarene is doing what Impaled Nazarene can. And they are not, backing down. They're not apologizing, and they're like, hey, we need to do something cleaning or stuff, blah, blah, blah. You have this album that runs for 30 minutes, and then it's ready to kill you. But like I said, to me, this album is, if we go back to that killing comparison, that metaphor, rather, I would say the first few punches are strong, powerful, speedy, and then the fighter starts whining. It's as if you're watching this kind of a mixed martial arts fight, and then you have these really big, super fit fighters. First they blow, like, they do fast, and suddenly like, I'm swinging, very winded. And that's when you lose your fight. Now the point here is, why I even decided to go with this album is like, this is kind of a disappointment. Like half of the album is a disappointment, whereas the other half is like, hey, yeah, it's good. So much like what I said all about Emperor's Anthems, the first tracks, oh, you're nailing it. And towards the end, and more like, yeah, you're not nailing it so much anymore. I mean, it's still certain, but it's not what you could have. So once again, I'm kind of divided with this album, and for that reason, I don't have it as in my collection anymore. That's why you don't see any CD or vinyl here of this album. Me handling might be a disappointment to some of you, but really, do I care? No. I still think that people who have skipped this album over the years should give it a chance, but a little bit of an adjustment in their heads versus the expectations. Like I said, some people treat this as an absolute classic and might even go as far as to say it's their best album or one of the best, which might be true in fact. But still, like I said, I can enjoy only half of the album. Really good, really a lot. And then the rest not so much. From my perspective, this could have been a really, really powerful MCD, a kind of EP with just 4 or 5 tracks, and that's it. But with the whole album, even it's only 30 minutes. It's like Impaled Nazarene's Raining Blood in a way, but it's not that good really. You know, I have a problem enjoying it all the way down, and hence, like I said, I don't have the CD or vinyl. But be that as it may, this is an interesting album for so many reasons. It's very, very Finnish, obviously. And it's all, at the same time, it's kind of a challenging the whole black metal way. I mean, can you really call it black metal? It's pretty much the same sentence what people would say Venom, depending on which generation you are or what is your angle about it. Let's not go to that. All I'm saying here is that this could be a lot better album, but it's still good, quite good anyway. So I wasn't that harsh on this album, I guess. Maybe I should have been harsher. Just kidding. Anyway, give it a look and give it a listen with fresh pair of eyes. Even if you know it all the way through, even if you haven't listened to it for 20 years, or even if you're a newbie, you might find something worthwhile while giving it a go. This is Cherry's Worst to Best. See you with more... Not worst to best. Challenging the classic. I'm thinking about something else here. Anyway, see you soon and thanks. And leave your comment in the comments box. Bye-bye.